Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Will, and I'm the head of Findaway Voices, and I'm here to talk to you today about marketing audiobooks in 2019. Findaway Voices is a self-publishing platform for audiobooks, and we work with authors all day long, every day. We work with thousands of audiobooks and thousands of authors trying to make audiobooks as successful as possible. So we're constantly watching trends, we're watching what's working with authors, and that's what I'm here to share with you today, some of the best advantages and tactics that we've seen in 2019. So beyond that, I wanted to tell you a little bit about Findaway, our parent company, because while Findaway Voices has been around for about 2 years, Findaway's been around for over 15 years at this point. We launched our first product about 15 years ago. It's the Playaway. That's up in the top left of the screen. You see it's a small MP3 player. It's about the size of a deck of cards, takes one little battery, and it plays an audiobook. And back when this was introduced, it was the days of CDs, when you had to shuffle a whole booklet of CDs to make it through an audiobook. So this innovation really made it simple for people to just pick up and go with an audiobook and play it all the way through. And you can still find this today in your local library if you go check for it. We also introduced Audio Engine, which is our audiobook API. We have a catalog of about 250,000 audiobooks that we offer to partners through Audio Engine. The basic idea is if you want to start an audiobook company, you can use Audio Engine to instantly have a ton of content in your catalog, and you don't have to worry about all the publisher negotiations, all the technology to store and deliver the audio. You can just work on what makes your service and your offering unique to customers. And then, of course, about 2 years ago, we introduced Findaway Voices, which is our self-publishing platform. This is a platform where any author with an audiobook can sign up and upload their audiobook to reach about 35 different retailers and library partners all throughout the world. Or if you need an audiobook created, we also work with thousands of narrators all over the world, lots of different languages and dialects and accents, and we can pair you with the perfect narrator for your project and manage the production from end to end. So if you've never made an audiobook before, we know how to make that process really easy. And then at the end, of course, we can get you to that global distribution network so your audiobook is everywhere. Let's talk about the industry growth just for a second. We have seen 7 years of double-digit revenue growth in the audiobook industry. It has been an amazing run, and it continues to increase. We see this trend only going up from here. It's a very exciting time to have an audiobook. It's a very exciting time to be creating your first audiobook. I've been with Findaway for about 7 years. We've seen 7 years of double-digit revenue growth. Not going to say that those are correlated at all. I'm just going to throw those two facts out there. Do with those what you may. So let's dive into the actual tactics here. All the things we're going to talk about today fall inside these 4 buckets: be everywhere, price matters, discovery, and find advantages. So let's dive in with the first one, be everywhere. So I believe that no matter where a listener searches for your audiobook, they should find it. You should not lock yourself onto a single platform. If there is a consumer anywhere in the world who's going to take the time to go to the search bar in their audiobook app and type in your audiobook's title, you absolutely want them to find your title in the search results. You do not want them to have an empty page of search results or someone else's title show up because it was just close to the query. You want to have your audiobook on every audiobook storefront, every library in the world. Capture every opportunity you can. Now, if you're sitting in the US, clearly your mind is going to go to Audible and how dominant they are, and no doubt, they are a big player in the audiobook industry. They've done a ton of good for the industry. They've made audiobooks sexy. They've gotten a lot of people hooked on audiobooks. But they're not as big as maybe you think if you're just sitting in the US. Yes, they're big in the countries they operate in, but they only operate 9 localized storefronts. They're in the US, Canada, UK, France, Germany, Italy, India, Japan, and Australia. And yes, those are big countries. They are important to the audiobook industry, but there is a lot of growth happening outside those countries as well that you're going to want to tap into. Now, to get to every audiobook retailer in the world, it's really easy. You could just upload it in one spot on Findaway Voices, and you could reach all these partners. If you're sitting in the US or the UK, you likely notice a lot of partners that you recognize and a lot more that you don't. So for all the Apples and Googles and Kobos and Audibles of the world, there's also some names on here that are not household names in our countries, but they are huge in their own niche markets. It's important that you're hitting all the markets you can because especially English language content is popular even in non-English language speaking countries. You want to take advantage of all those people who are trying to learn English and they're doing it through entertainment. This is a real market. There's real opportunity to be tapped here. And of course, if you have something like a Spanish language audiobook, that's going to do really well in Latin America and Spain and certain markets around the world. So for all of you who think Audible, they've got to be 90% of the market. Look, it's just not true. They're going to be your single biggest retailer, probably for a little bit while longer. So when you're looking at all those 40 retailers in your royalty report, Audible is probably going to be the biggest one. But they're not so big that they're taking up 90% of the market. So this is a case study. This is a USA Today best-selling mystery and thriller author from Findaway Voices. And her sales break out this way. 43% of them are being taken care of by Audible, 12% in the library, and then 45% everywhere else. This includes, retail sales on Apple and Google and Kobo, but also streaming subscription services like Scribd and Storytel. If this author had gone exclusive with Audible, she would have lost money. In fact, she's earning 41% more by going wide than being Audible exclusive. This author has decided to make sure that her book is everywhere, and it is paying off. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is price matters. So let's think about price as being one of the levers, one of the most important levers that you can use in marketing. In fact, is there a better marketing hook than try it for free? The free trial has been around forever. I wish I could quantify it. I went to do the research, but when I was Googling around for it, all I could find were freetrialsforhistory.com. They were clouding my search results with their own free trial, but that just goes to show how prevalent free trials are. So what if you could say, try my audiobook for free, and when you do, I still get paid? If that sounds impossible to you, you have forgotten about libraries. Libraries are super powerful, and that's exactly how it works. So the listener, the person who's actually consuming your audiobook, gets to do it for free. But that doesn't mean you're giving it away for free. Libraries are paying for that content. Now, there's two different ways for libraries to pay you for that content. There's two different business models that we work with right now. The one that you're probably most familiar with is the one that mirrors physical goods. So this is the books on the shelf model, right? This is when a librarian is deciding what titles they want to carry on their digital shelves. They make those purchases, and they make them usually at 2 to 3 times the retail price. So if you've set your retail price for $10, a library, when they buy it, is probably going to pay $20 or $30 to have it on their shelf. They're paying more because they're paying for the privilege to circulate that to multiple patrons. So when I check out the book, it is in my possession, and although it's a digital copy, you can't have it until I return it, and it works kind of the same way that you expect. This model is not great for independent authors and self-published authors and anybody who's not pumping a ton of money into big marketing campaigns. These titles that get bought by libraries are typically bigger titles, more well-known, the ones that get reviewed in Library Journal and big review magazines. Doesn't really favor authors as much, though it's not unheard of for authors to get these sales. And when you do, they're big paydays. But there's another model that authors do have a lot of advantages with. It's called the pay-per-circulation model, and you can kind of think of it like the Netflix subscription of libraries. So instead of the librarian deciding what should be in their catalog, they're opening up the entire catalog to their patrons and letting them check out any book. Now, they might merchandise some more than others, and there's still featured lists, but they're making a merchandising decision rather than a curation decision. So this is really important, and this is an advantage for you in a couple different ways. One, it opens up an opportunity for you to do direct-to-patron marketing. So for the first time, you can actually tell your patrons, go check out my audiobook in your local library, and you can have a reasonable amount of confidence that it will be there. Now, unfortunately, the way libraries are structured, they're going to use different back-end providers. We have over 10 different library partners that all service libraries, and sometimes a library could even use more than one at a time. They could use one for the pay-per-use model, they could use another for the traditional model where they're purchasing content. So the best way to do this, if you're going to do some direct-to-patron marketing, is to use a variation on this message. Search for my audiobook at your local library. If you don't find it, ask a librarian. So this is going to do two things. One, if the library doesn't stock your book, the librarian may use your request as a reason to purchase it under that traditional model, which is going to give you a good payday. Otherwise, it's going to point them to their library's website, which will give them all the instructions on figuring out how to get digital audiobooks at their library, no matter what system they're using. So how lucrative can this actually be? Well, we have one of our authors, a top 10 Findaway Voices author, who's making 70% of his royalties from library. Retail's only making up 30%. Audible's a slice of that 30% there. Again, this is a top 10 Findaway Voices author. This guy's not making little money. This is not peanuts. This is a real royalty check that's coming in that would make you smile, I'm sure. 70% of his royalties have come from library sales. Another tactic besides from libraries, when you're pulling a title from Audible exclusivity and you're going non-exclusive. So your book has only been available at Audible for a while, and now you're non-exclusive and you suddenly are offering your audiobook to the rest of the world. It's a great moment to celebrate and let your audience know. Even if your audience knew you had an audiobook, maybe they don't use Audible. Maybe they subscribe with Scribd or Storytel. And you want to let them know that your audiobooks are now in those catalogs. Likewise, with libraries, this is a moment where this book is, for the first time ever, available in libraries. And that gives you some great advantages with libraries too, because a lot of times, even if it's a backlist title, libraries will merchandise it as a new title because it's never been available to libraries before. And that's a great way to breathe life into a book that's become stagnant on Audible. Maybe you're making $100 a month with it or $200 a month. It's a great time, as long as it's been more than a year, to pull it from exclusivity and go wide. It's another great moment for your audiobooks. Another tactic when you're going wide is to refresh your covers at that point. It's another way to breathe new life into your book and try to get some more excitement and buzz around it and make sure that it stands out really well with modern covers in your genre. The other thing you get when you go wide is you have control over the list price. So when you're exclusive with Audible, you'll notice there's no place to type in your retail list price because they don't accept one. They just price it for whatever they think is right, and it's behind the credit model, so it's about $15 to buy a credit and redeem it for your book. But now you have price control, and you're going to make better royalty rates at just about anywhere other than Audible, so use that price control. Use it to make better royalties elsewhere by pulling consumers onto different platforms. Don't just price it at $15, price it at $12, price it at $10, price it at $8.99 if it's a shorter book. And if you're looking for guidance on what you should set your list price to, we're baking some tools right into the Findaway Voices dashboard this year that will help you decide what an optimal and competitive price is for your genre and your book's length. So we're looking to help you with that and make sure that you're staying competitive, not only against the price of a credit, but against other books in your genre that are going to be on all the different retail platforms that you're now a part of. Placement and features. This happens on just about every retailer, and it happens in library systems. This right here is a screen cap from a couple weeks ago on Hoopla, which is a major library provider in the US. This is one of the paper circulation models where the whole catalog is opened up. And in those models, merchandising is really popular because they can get a whole bunch of eyeballs from the library patrons this way. And 2 of the 10 books that you're seeing here are from Findaway Voices. The way we got those features are the authors told us some nuggets about them, told us some information that we were able to pass on to Hoopla and secure those features. Now, I can't guarantee that if you give us some info about your book that I can get you a feature, but I can almost guarantee you that if I don't know anything about your book, there's a very small chance that it's just going to show up on one of these carousels. So if something newsworthy is going on with your series, if you've just refreshed your covers, if you or your narrator have won some kind of an award, even if it's not for this particular book, but now you're an award-winning author or a nominee, anything newsworthy like that, let us know. Just shoot us an email and just say, hey, I have some books with you. I wanted to let you know about something happening. We do read all of those. They go into consideration. Again, I can't guarantee anything, but features can be very lucrative and you should try for them. And we're talking with retailers all the time. We're staying really close touch with them. They're great partners of ours, and our incentives are aligned with you. We want your books to sell as much as we can. So anytime we can secure a feature, we absolutely want to. The last thing I want to talk about with pricing is promotional pricing. So in addition to setting your list price, you can also set promotional prices. I'm a total sucker for this when I'm at the grocery store and I walk by the wine aisle and I see a $20 bottle of wine for $8.99. I almost always pick it up. I feel like I'm getting the deal of the century. And the same thing happens with consumers on all kinds of different mediums in all different industries. Audiobooks are no exception to this rule. So take advantage of promotional prices. Be strategic with them. If you have book 3 or book 4 in a series coming out, do a promotional price on your book 1 to get new readers coming out at the moment where they're maybe just seeing book 4 in the series. Incent them with doing promotional pricing on book 1. You're going to have finer grained controls coming later this year right in the Findaway Voices dashboard. You'll have lots more control over the time window and the specific retailers that you want to offer the promotional price for. Right now it has pretty good support. We can support promotional prices on Apple Books, Google Play, Chirp, Nook, and a couple other retailers. Again, price matters, and promotional pricing is basically a way to put your book on sale and really attract some new readers. Use it strategically, use it when you can. Don't use it all the time, or else it can be overused, but it's a powerful tool in your marketing tool belt. So next up, I want to talk about discovery. And I'm going to start this off with question time. So this is a time that I want you to sit back, think about this for just a second. The question is, how do you run promotions on Audible? Okay, if you couldn't come up with an answer or you were really stumped here, don't feel bad. This was a bit of a trick question. You cannot run promotions on Audible. If you want to give your book away for free on Audible, you can't do it. If you want to discount the price, you can't do it. You can't even set the normal price. They do that for you. And so you can't run promotions on Audible. Okay, keep that in mind because we're going to come back to that. It's important. When we're talking discovery, we would be remiss if we did not mention BookBub. BookBub has a new audiobook platform called Chirp, and it's much like Featured Deals that you know and love in a lot of ways, but it's significantly different in a few ways too. So these are daily deals on audiobooks. These are highly discounted audiobooks. They're 99 cents or $1.99, which is insanely cheap for audiobooks. This is motivating a ton of consumers, and they are in beta now, but they are continuing to grow at an incredible rate, and they're one of the most exciting things that I think is happening in the audiobook space right now. So if you're familiar with Featured Deals on the ebook side, the way it works is you get an email every day with the deals, and they're highly discounted ebooks, and then you click out to the retailers to make the purchases. Okay, so with the audiobooks, it's similar in that you still get daily deals, the books are still discounted, but how would it work if I was to link out to retailers? How could I link out to retailers while ignoring Audible when I can't discount it on Audible? The whole model kind of breaks down at that point and doesn't make sense. So what Chirp did was they decided, we're going to be the retailer. When you get a daily deal with Chirp, there's only one place that you can buy it, on Chirp's website. They're not linking out to other retailers. It's not like Featured Deals in that way. Chirp is the one offering the discount, and they're the single retailer that they are selling from. And you listen in the Chirp app too. It's a great experience. They've done a fantastic job with this. And the purchase experience is frictionless. It's so easy and so nice. It's a great experience. You just click get the deal, and then boom, you're on the checkout page. Your credit card is already there. You just have to hit one more button to confirm the purchase, and it automatically shows up in your app. Look, deep discounts influence consumers. This also falls in the last bucket of price matters. But Chirp is run from the same team that runs BookBub. And is there anybody better in the whole world at finding a ton of really engaged listeners and readers than BookBub? Chirp is a really exciting, fantastic way to get your audiobook visible in front of lots of new listeners. And the deep discounts are really moving the needle on conversion. The other thing that Chirp is doing is they're training more and more consumers that there are better places than Audible to get audiobooks. They're cheaper, it's still a good listening experience, the technology is really great and seamless, and they're getting to be exposed to books that they may not have found otherwise. So Chirp is a very positive force in the audiobook industry. They are still in beta. They have a waitlist as of now. So if you Google for Chirp waitlist, I'm sure it'll show up right there. If you're not wide, that's a great reason to be wide. And when you go wide, make sure you go wide with us because we are tightly partnered with Chirp, and we're really excited to see what they do when they come out of beta. Another tool for discovery is giveaway codes. So giveaway codes are something that we developed at Findaway Voices as a way for all of our customers to be able to give away copies of their audiobooks for free. So say you want to get some reviews, you want to send it to a book blogger or someone who helped you with the production that you promised a book to. You can do that by sending them a giveaway code. It's a unique little code that's tied just to the redemption of your particular book. And you can generate these and keep track of them all right in your Findaway Voices dashboard. In fact, when they're redeemed, you can even see the date that they're redeemed. You could basically use these however you'd like, as long as you're not selling them. They have to be given away for free. But it's another powerful tool in your tool belt to start getting some reviews. Even if they listen through the giveaway code, there are plenty of platforms that accept reviews of the audiobook, even though you didn't purchase it from there. So you can motivate people to listen on Authors Direct, which is where you listen to a giveaway code, and then review it on another platform. The final bucket that I want to talk about here is find advantages. So the very first advantage that I want to talk about is Apple Books. Apple Books recently, last year, went under a major redesign that elevated audiobooks right to the forefront. They have a beautiful, wonderful experience. If you're an iOS user, you probably already know that. If you're an Android user, just trust me, this is preloaded on every iOS device. The listening experience is fantastic, and the purchasing experience is completely seamless. When you decide you want an audiobook, you just put your thumbprint down or you let it scan your face and boom, you're paid for. So if you want your book to sell at Apple Books, you're going to want to make as much money as you can. Now you can get to Apple Books two ways. You can get there through ACX, even if you're doing an exclusive contract with ACX. So if you make it to Apple Books via ACX exclusively, you're going to make a 40% royalty rate on all your sales, but it's going to sell for whatever Audible decides to sell it for. And you can't run any promotions, and you're locked into a 7-year term. If you go non-exclusive with ACX, you're going to make a 25% royalty rate, which is pretty low. And it's still going to sell for whatever Audible decides to sell it for, and you still can't run any promotions. And again, that's a 7-year term where you can't remove it from ACX for 7 years. But we have a direct relationship with Apple Books, and we have great terms. So if you get to Apple Books through Findaway Voices, you can make a 45% royalty rate on the list price that you get to set. That's extremely powerful. And you get to run promotional pricing monthly right now, more fine-grained coming later this year. And there's no minimum term. So even if your audiobook is already reaching Apple Books through ACX non-exclusively, you can upload it to Findaway Voices, and the duplicate will be there for like a day or two, but then it'll get removed, and the Findaway Voices version will be left. So you'll be making much higher royalties and have control over your list price and promotional opportunities. That is definitely an advantage because you will be making a lot more money when your book sells through Apple Books if you've gotten your audiobook there through Findaway Voices. Some other tools that Apple launched last year that you should know about, they have a marketing toolkit, and one of the things is a audiobook preview widget. So if you use something like SoundCloud to do audiobook previews on your personal website, you're familiar, they give you a little embed code and you put it in there, and then all of a sudden people can listen to a snippet of your audiobook. However, when they want to buy the audiobook, they still have to do some kind of other call to action. This is basically the same idea. It's an embedded web audio player. You get a little snippet, you push it right in your website, and it just works. But if it's an Apple user, either on a Mac, an iPhone, or an iPad, and they listen to the sample, there's going to be a call to action there for just buying it right there. And it's going to work really seamlessly with Touch ID or Face ID, the credit card that's already on your Apple account, and it makes purchasing really easy. So these are more efficient ways to convert users who are already interested in listening to a sample on your website. It's definitely an advantage if you're going to use that. And both Apple Books and Google Play have affiliate programs. So every time your book sells through a link where you've pushed the traffic there, if you've registered and gotten your link, you can earn an extra 7% on those sales. That's definitely an advantage. Also, if you're in one of the Commonwealth countries, don't forget about your public lending rights. Those work for audiobooks, and that can get you some extra money from your library circulations. And the last, and I think best advantage that we have for audiobook marketing in 2019 is a platform called Authors Direct. So you heard me talk about this a little bit earlier on. I teased it just a little bit with the giveaway codes. But this Authors Direct platform is something that we built in response to some feedback that we got from a lot of authors when we first launched. So when we first launched Findaway Voices, authors would come to us all the time, and authors would say, I have a huge audience, and I know how to mobilize them, and I want to push them to the place where I'm going to make the best royalties. Really what I want to do is sell directly to them. But there's so many problems with selling directly. 1, I have to deal with sales taxes, and that's just a pain. 2, The technology is really hard. What I do is I zip up a bunch of MP3 files and I just send them a Dropbox link. But when they get it, they don't know what to do with it. It's not a great listening experience. They have to go through the folder and listen to one file at a time until they've made it through the whole book. And they're listening in an audio player so they don't get bookmarks and chapter lists. And it's just not a great experience. And I'm doing a lot of customer support to support that. So we decided to build Authors Direct as a platform that helps authors sell audiobooks directly to their users. You make an 85% royalty rate on every audiobook you sell because we don't act like a traditional retailer. Now, you do get a collection page, you get product detail pages, and you can push traffic to that. But we don't have a homepage, we don't have carousels, we don't have marketing. This is really a platform where your audiobooks live and you're relying on the traffic that you drive to the page. That's why we can offer such a high royalty rate on these sales, because we're really just facilitating you to sell directly. We're not acting like a retailer here. But we'll take care of the sales taxes, we'll take care of the royalty payments, and we take care of the listening experience. So we have a fantastic app. It's called Authors Direct on the App Store. It's both iOS and Android, where users get to listen to their audiobooks, and it is a wonderful, first-rate, first-class audiobook listening experience. Currently, Authors Direct is still in beta, but we're hoping to open it up even wider this year. Authors Direct is also a fantastic place for bonus content and giveaways. So if you're making 85% royalties, some things that you might want to do to attract people to pull the trigger and make the sale on that platform is offering bonus content. So for example, maybe an author interview that makes an exclusive version of your audiobook where the author interview is only available on Authors Direct. Or maybe you're going to do a first-in-series giveaway. You want to do some giveaways to hook new people on your series. You have full control over pricing, consumer pricing in Authors Direct, and that includes free. You can give away books for free. And this has been a powerful tool that we've seen work for series, to give away the first-in-series. We've also seen authors experiment with producing short pieces of content, 30 minutes, 1 hour long, and exchange a code to redeem them for free when you sign up for an author newsletter. So it's a nice little giveaway, a nice little hook. Sign up for my author newsletter and get an exclusive audiobook just for you. Authors are always looking for ways to get more email addresses of their readers, and offering an exclusive audiobook that's not available as an ebook and not available on any other retailers is a really good hook that's been converting really well for authors. We're also experimenting with some multi-author promotions. This is something that we did last February. We invited about 20 authors who are in the Authors Direct beta to give away a romance audiobook for free. It didn't have to be a series starter, but a lot of them were. It could be any book that they wanted to give away. And the idea was, for this week in February, around Valentine's Day, we would promote this page, and all the authors who are participating would let their audience know, hey, my book is free this week. Go check it out on this page here. And then all the 20 authors who are participating would direct their audiences to this one page, this collection page with all the audiobooks. So the listener would show up on this page, they'd find the audiobook that they came for, but then they'd see 19 other books here that were also free in a genre that they were interested in. And we saw people load up 15, 18, even all 20 audiobooks into their cart and just get them all, because why not? It was a great way for romance authors to pool their audiences together and help each other out. And we're looking for more ways to experiment like this on Authors Direct. And some of the other things that we are experimenting with in Authors Direct is ways to help conversion. So this is one experiment that is already live on Android. You notice this screen is kind of a call to action. This is actually the player screen. And when the user, the listener, gets 90% of the way through an audiobook, so basically they've listened to the full book and they're nearing the end of it, we swap out the cover art with this call to action saying, check out more great books from this author on Authors Direct. We're looking at more ways to incentivize people who are clearly engaged with your content to automatically go buy more of it. We all win when that happens. I definitely hope you see Authors Direct as a huge advantage for your audiobooks. We are opening up the beta wider soon, so hopefully you will have a storefront and you'll be able to experiment with this great new tool and the great advantage. So today we talked about 4 things. We talked about be everywhere. Again, this message is if somebody is searching for your audiobook on a platform, I don't care where in the world they are, I want them to find the audiobook they're searching for. Don't just lock up your audiobook on a single platform. Price matters. You get to set your list price with Findaway Voices, and you get to set your promotional pricing. Promotional pricing is such a powerful tool in the audiobook space. And libraries can be extremely impactful to your strategy because consumers get to try your audiobook for free and you get paid when they listen. Discovery, don't forget about Chirp and how that works. Chirp is one of the most exciting things happening in the audiobook market right now and can be a fantastic way to open your audiobook to a whole new world of listeners. And then in Find Advantages, of course, Authors Direct is this platform that we have launched, and we hope you're as excited about it as we are. So that's what audiobook marketing looks like in 2019. Thank you for joining me today. There are so many authors out there who are innovating. There are so many companies who are working really, really hard to change this market for the better. There's never been a better time to have an audiobook for sale. We'd love it if you joined us by uploading your audiobook to Findaway Voices, where you can take advantage of all the amazing things that I just shared with you today. Thank you very much for listening. Again, I'm Will from Findaway Voices. If you have any questions, find us on Twitter, find us on Facebook, email our support line. We would love to help you with any questions you have about audiobooks. And if you have a great success story, we'd also love to hear it. We always love hearing success stories from authors and learning from you. Thank you so much again for joining me.